Oi, oi. Oi, oi. This is shit. Well, this poem is shit anyway. You can be shit-faced, have shit for brains, shitter, get off the pot. You can smoke shit, talk shit, or even be shit hot. You can throw shit, give a shit, duck when it hits the fan. You can be deep shit, tough shit when everything turns wrong. You can look like shit, feel like shit, go like shit off a shovel. Find yourself up shit creek without any paddle. Have a shower of shit, get your shit together. Bear shit in the woods, 'cause it's always shitty weather. There's heavy shit, weird shit. Hey, please don't be offended. This is just a shitty poem. I'm just fucking glad it's ended. Hey, thank you. And now we've decided what level we're on. This is one called belief. You can't trust a politician, especially when it squeaks. You can't trust 30 quid to see you through the week. You can't trust Pennine Express to run their trains on time. You can't trust the government not to pinch what's yours and mine. You can't trust the internet, whether true or if it's false. You can't trust your bowel movements, that's why there's Epsom salts. You can't trust the council not to knock good buildings down. You can't trust the president not to act like a fucking clown. You can't trust the Russians or trust the Chinese. You can't trust any takeaway to cook a meal that's peanut free. So don't believe in what you hear and only half of what you see. Don't believe in prophecies. Don't believe in me. Don't believe in fortune cookies, they're all made in Rotherham. Don't believe the Tories, the right is always wrong. The only thing to believe in, the one thing that never fails, is that every fucking weekend DFS have a bloody sale. Thank you. It's really strange when it's so silent between. So when you're at home, clap and we'll all try and tune in and listen to it. This is a new one. This is called Stand the Man. This was written in the COVID period of my life. Stan the man without a plan, travels through the country in his little transit van, cursing at pedestrians, cursing at the weather, dreaming of a girlfriend who'll go to bed in leather, dreaming of his Carlsberg, thinking about his team. They lost 3-0 at home last week, enough to make Stan scream. He has his own opinions of where to lay the blame. Despite a string of managers, it's still the bloody same. Managers will come and go, players rise and fall. The road goes on forever, a Stan drives through the storm. Of economic vagaries, of working cash in hand, of trying to make ends meet, his dreams have turned to sand. He drove through COVID lockdown, driving day and night. Every time he had a cough, he gave himself a fright. He can't go off on holiday, there's money due on the van. Life's fucking tough for Stan, the man who lost his plan. Thank you. On behalf of all the Stans. A lot of people say, why do you write the poems? Or how do you write poetry? I put it down to drugs. This is called habits. Some people need some killer weed. Some people need cocaine. Some people need some cactus juice to purify their brain. Some people need their vodka, and some need ecstasy. Some people need their acid to make their minds run free. Some people need malt whiskey. Some people need their speed. Some people feed their rabbit and that's all they'll ever need. Some people use temazepam and some use Novocaine. Some people need some uppers and some downers to ease pain. Everyone needs something to make it through the night. Everyone needs something to forget all of the shite. Everyone needs something to have themselves a ball. Me, I've got this problem because I fucking need it all. Thank you. This is called Phobias. Punchline, care of Yvonne. I'm scared of beautiful women. I'm venustrophobic. I don't like spiders either. I'm also arachnophobic. I'm not too fond of water. I guess I'm hydrophobic. And I don't like wriggly snakes. I must be ophidophobic. And I don't like things that are dead. I'm necro-bloody-phobic. I wear zips. I don't wear buttons. I'm compouponophobic. I don't like the clicking of the clock. I'm chronometrophobic. And I don't like things that are big. I'm megalobophobic. And I don't like things that are small. I must be microphobic. I think I'm scared of me phobia. That means I'm phobophobic. And I'm really scared of giants. because I'm fee-fi-fo-phobic. Thank you. This is another new one. This is dedicated to Waterloo Station, because I used to go to Waterloo Station quite a lot many times ago. I'm going to sit down now because we're entering a little quiet bit where, as I said, these are some real poems. We always meet by the station clock as lives go by with a loud tick-tock. Lovers' greetings, parties, meetings, folks departing, day trips starting, newspaper sellers, shifty-looking fellas, travels off on holiday, businessmen on jolly days, people going places, dressed up for the races, folk missing their connections, coppers give directions, liberties they're taking, their feet are bloody aching. Out off to do some drinking, off home to do some thinking, outside it's bloody raining, taxi cabs are hailing, ambulances wailing. There's always poor bloke left waiting beneath the station clock. Thank you. This is a quiet period, so I sit down. I'm getting old, you see, so I've got to sit down. So there we go. This is called One Foot Dancing. If a tree falls down in the forest, if a butterfly has a big sneeze, if I catch a cold financially, I'll be down on my uppers and knees. When the lions outside the town hall in Leeds get up and all walk around, when all the clocks strike 13 and time flies not making a sound, when sunlight lights up the bedroom, the time of the year is advancing, the echoes you hear are from yesterday, it's just the sound of one foot dancing. I've put those so far away. There we go. This is another new one. Oh, the ghosts of the building. Oh, did you hear that? This is Indigo Ally, by the way, in case you're wondering where I'm doing it. Thank you very much to Mr. Jim and to Simon, who's behind on the camera. This hasn't got a title. Ooh, it's the creepy, creepy venue. When the seas shake like thunder and waves crash overhead and rolling rocks uncover the seaweed-covered wreck, behold the Seasick Galleon running from the storm. The boiling seas will make damn sure she'll never see the dawn. She'll join the other skeletons of once proud sailing ships lying shattered on the reef, and all its broken timbers go rolling in the deep. There's no pity on the ocean, there's nowhere you can hide, as the bones of long-lost mariners are washed upon the tide. Thank you. That's for Captain Ant and his photography down on the beach. Because every so often the remains of a ship can just be seen that sank there in the 1825 storm, I think it was. It was a collier. This is another new one. This is called The Mystery. The strider walks the hilltops, the walker strides the dales, the stalker walks the forest paths and haunts the midnight trails. The merchant goes to market, the riders cross the fen, the pilgrim walks behind the cross, avoids the road to hell. The gambler pays his money, the winner takes it all. The priest answers the mystery. There is no mystery at all. Thank you. Right, this is another quiet one. This has got an history. Cheers. When I was a little kid, about that high, my dad, who was only that high, used to take me to Island Road to a place called the Scratching Shed. And it was called the Scratching Shed because he came out with fleas. And everybody was like, oh. But like, this would be in the 1950s. And I saw the Leeds United team and I became a Leeds United fan. And I can't do me. Life is grim and I'm a Leeds United fan because we've got promoted this season. I'll wait till next year to do that one. But I was walking home a bit and the name Jackie Overfield came into my mind. And the whole thing of the 50s came back to me. So this poem's called This One's for Jackie Overfield. The sun sets in the background, behind the Lowfield stand, factory chimneys on horizons when the fans all left Bitram. The 50s when all our teams played in black and white, homemade scarves and wooden rattles in smoggy gaslit nights. The ghosts of players lost in time echo round the final whistle. Their game is done, their boots are hung, there's no one left to listen. To the names the fans all chanted, the names from old team sheets, Don Revie, Jimmy Ashell, Grenville Hare and Georgie Meek, Noel Payton, Billy Humphries, Jackie Overfield and Chris Crowe, Archie Gibson, Jackie Charlton and Ted Bergin in the goal. Their names are carved on gravestones somewhere in this land, but their fame lives on forever in hearts of old Leeds fans, whose lives too soon will end, and there'll be no one left to say they were standing in the scratching shed and saw Jackie Overfield play. Thank you. That was for me, Dad. And also, quite nice, that went up on the internet and somebody from Leeds United saw it and it got passed around. And then I got an email out of the blue. And of all things, it was from Jackie Overfield's daughter and saying that the old man's still alive. He's 80-odd and he lives in Holton in Leeds. So there you go. Isn't that quite nice? Poetry brings you together. Couple of monologues, 3 monologues, and then because Simon will run out of memory, we'll take a little break. And we'll be back when he regains his memory and realises who he is. When Jonathan Cooper came home from school, he started to cry and to cry. He cried and he cried for nearly 3 weeks, and his mum started wondering why. "What's the matter, young John?" his mother did say. "Has been caught in bike shed again? Or have I been given stick for playing at darts with your pen?" "Oh no," young Jonathan said. "It's nothing like that. It's all got to do with me Willie. We were measuring showers just after games and mine was so small it looked silly." "Reet," said his mum, "down to Gypsy's we'll go. Some of his spells we shall borrow. I reckon it'd make it grow long right away, be tripping up bugger tomorrow." Well, next morning at Gypsy's, young John showed his complaint, and it was certainly nothing to boast, and Gypsy at first thought he sprouted a worm. And then he prescribed John hot toast. "Hot toast," said his mum. "Have you gone bloody daft? It is Willie that's lacking your twit. Why, just look at poor little thing hanging there at tea time, I ate bigger chips." "It's a common complaint, Mrs. Cooper," he said, "and mostly men, don't you know. But nature has found best cure of them all. 'Cause hot buttered toast makes them grow." Well, next morning at breakfast, young Johnny came down. He looked like he'd just seen a ghost. 'Cause on every plate and pan high up to the roof were hundreds of pieces of toast. "I can't eat all them, ma'am," Jonathan said. And his face, it grew morbid and sad. "It's all right, love, there's only 2 slices for you. Rest of them's all for your dad. Thank you. Boom, boom." This is another monologue, and to this day, I've never, ever realised or discovered the difference between a poem and a monologue. And I asked somebody on the internet that once, and that got very long and involved. Anyway, we won't go there. This is about an hero of mine, about Vincent Van Gogh. Vincent Van Gogh was a painter. He painted the landscapes in France. But a little-known fact about Vincent was he really enjoyed a good dance. He'd dance in the local French cafes. He'd dance through the night till the morn. Then he'd go home by bus, pick up a brush and knock off a landscape by dawn. One day, while pissed on his absinthe, he tried painting whilst dancing a conga. But whilst dancing a jig, the art got too big, 'cause absinthe makes the art grow longer. But then he developed an earache, caused by the loud disco beat. Though the act cost him dear, he cut off his ear and frightened the dogs in the street. He carefully wrapped it in paper. To his mistress he sent it by post. She wasn't impressed and ripped up his vest, a sign their engagement was toast. Now Vincent was deaf and heartbroken. His dancing days now sadly finished. He hadn't an ear for the music, though his painting was never diminished. And to take us into the break, this is the story of why we should all be proud in Yorkshire. This is Boudicca, or Boudica, whichever you prefer, and the Romans. The Romans had landed in Britain and building aqueducts, villas and roads. They were doing quite well with conquering the poor Britons who only wore woad. Then they came to the boundaries of Yorkshire, where the Iceni ruled as top tribe. They were led by a queen called Boudica that the Romans thought they could bribe. So they sent us some wine in amphorae, roast dormouse in sesame seeds, but the Iceni were brought up on black pudding, served with tatties and turnips and mead. They looked at the Roman food parcel and poked it with swords and with spears. Then Boudicca stood tall and said to them all, "You're not building roads around here?" Now the Romans were working to contract. They were already late in the deeds. They got lost in a bog down in Thetford and fell in the river in Leeds. Building roads in straight lines proved a problem in a country full of grey clouds and mist, where no one could see the horizon, and it were proving a bit hit and miss. So they sat down and came to agreement to save bloodshed and more double pay. Romans stopped at Boudicca's boundary, waved the eagles, and just walked away. And that's why, if you go into Yorkshire, the roads are all bent, twisted and poor, and why it takes fucking hours to travel the length of the A64. Thank you. We'll take a break just here. Oh, it's starting. Yes. You ready? I'm ready. And welcome back. We have all had pee breaks. We've all sat down and discussed the meaning of life, the universe and everything. And Simon's got his lighting right. These are the 3 COVID poems written during lockdown. Or the first lockdown, depending on when you're watching this. This is called Virus. I'm staying at home today. I'm staying at home tomorrow. I'm staying at home for the next 4 months. I'm leaving the world in great sorrow. I suppose I could repaint the kitchen. I could write a new masterpiece. But in 4 months of beer, Netflix and pizza, and I'll end up looking obscene. Perhaps I should buy myself jigsaws. I teach myself crochet or knitting. I'll get up and sort out the garden, not just look out the window, just wishing. Perhaps I'll become alcoholic, but I never stocked up on the booze, and I can't go and scare myself shitless because there's no bog paper left in my loo. So here, I'll just sit here and scratch me on bollocks and watch the grim news on TV and try to stay safe and hoping the virus don't come anywhere near me. And pity the poor sods who go out and face this thing right face to face. The government's treatment of workers seems to me just a fucking disgrace. There's not enough gear for our nurses, no visors, no masks and no gowns, no protection for them in our care homes. One sneeze and we'll all fall down. Some countries have handled it badly, some countries have handled it worse, but our lot just dithered and hoped that the thing would disperse. So one day, when this thing blows over, for them that is gone, raise a drink. Look to Whitehall for some reckoning and ask why their attitudes stink. Thank you. Oh, bugger it. This is called Jogging Pants. Oh, by the way, I also put a stone on during lockdown. So that last poem, it was just quite apt, really. And it's dead easy to put on. Can't get it off. Especially when Indigo Ally does such great pizzas as well. There you go. I was here on Saturday night. If you want a really good pizza, get down here. Right, that's the advert done. This is called Jogging Pants. They've been the longest weeks in the history of ever. Stuck inside our houses, irrespective of the weather. Just bit players in this game of life, sitting out the lock-in, avoiding all the strife, panning for gold in the YouTube channels, scraping stuff to watch from the bottom of a barrel. It's become our entertainment, that's how we spend our nights. No one's had a haircut, we all look like a fright. All we've worn is jogging pants for the last 3 months and turned our communications into a set of grunts. Thank God for the internet, FaceTime, Zoom and others, keeping the connection between sisters, brothers, mothers, not going out to shop, having everything delivered. All this home drinking is messing with my liver. Watching wildlife take over the street, going for a walk, it's just the badgers that you meet. We're all hand washing, but it's the world that's getting clean, all on account of that COVID-19. Thank you. And this is for the day, this is for the day when it eventually ends. It's called When All This Shit Is Over. When all this shit is over, We'll sit down inside a bar. We'll strap ourselves into our seats and drink away the scars, the bruises and the broken bones that life has dealt our way, and toast all of our enemies come that wondrous drunken day. We'll throw the glasses to the floor and curse our so-called friends. We don't forgive, we don't forget, we'll never make amends. When all this shit is over, we'll sit there face to face. We'll stumble round and mumble about each other's saving grace. We'll show the world we matter. We'll show the world we care. We'll drink that bloody bar so dry and drink away our wear and tear. We'll drink till night time's over. We'll drink till break of day. We'll down the hatch and raise the roof till they carry us away. Cheers. I'm getting old. Everybody knows I'm getting old because you all take the piss. I know, I've heard it. I know. I'm trying to think. Were you at my 71st? Yes, he was, wasn't he? We bastard. What do you mean twice? I've only had one 71. You can only have one 71st. I wish I hadn't. This is about being old. It's called Time Goes By So Fast. Sometimes it's better not to remember. Sometimes it's better to forget. Sometimes it's better just to turn the page and wipe away the debt. Nostalgia ain't what it used to be. Don't look back with sorrow. When all is finally said and done, today will be yesterday tomorrow. Time is what you make it. It's never on your side. Between the living and the dead is where two worlds collide. So always live for tomorrow and don't dwell in the past, because when you're getting older, time goes by so fast. And one day, they'll call you Spider-Man because you can't get yourself out of the bath. Thank you. Right, this is getting back to the old set now. That's the new one's done. Simon's moved back a bit. I'll probably stand up for this. This is dedicated to the South Bay in Scarborough and the surfers who are constantly bemoaning what the hell's going on down there. It's called Surfer's Poem. There's a poison floating out at sea, it's killing the seabed. Industrial pollution is giving fish two heads. Every surfer takes a risk on every wave they ride. Bacteria and microbeads washed up on every tide. Every bather takes a risk from the shit that's in the foam. Your toes will rot and then drop off, you're better off at home. Fish and chips and candy floss, sand but no blue flags. Outlets and rock pools all jammed up with plastic bags. The seaweed's gone, the sea is dead, there's no more fishing trips. What a fucking price to pay for a bag of oven chips. Thank you. Poetry, eh? Strange stuff, isn't it? Why do we write it? I mean, I've been writing this crap now since I think it was 1966 when I discovered that I couldn't sing for life. And I discovered that I had no musical ear whatsoever. Couldn't tell one note from, well, I could tell a pound note and from a 10 bob note, but that was about as much as I could do. And we ended up sort of sitting there sulking, thinking, there's got to be something better to do. I want to get on that stage. I want to, because even then, back in the 60s, the women were gorgeous. There's that wonderful thing at the moment going around on Facebook. It says, your grandmother wore short skirts and thigh boots and listened to the Beatles and the Stones and took drugs and partied. You'll never be as cool as your grandmother. Hey, yeah, that's so right. I wanted part of that action, and I was sat on the toilet roof of a public toilet in Manston Park in Leeds, and I saw a kid, and he was pulling the women right left and centre. Well, women, girls. And I thought, why? What's so special about him? And he'd written some poems, and I thought, this is where we go. And so I locked myself away for a couple of years, started writing, started reading. And if you want to write, you've got to read first. You really do have to read. So I read everything that was around, J.D. Salinger, all the sort of 60s stuff. And then one day I had a poem, and I thought, right, this is the poem. And I went to a local folk club and started getting up, doing a little floor spot there. 1968 was when I did it. And that's where it all began. And what was really weird is I started off at the same time as I sort of read a couple of poems when Billy Connolly was on the stage and Mike Harding and those acts, but at that particular time, they weren't comedians. They were still folk singers. And they did a bit banter between songs, but that was it. And then they went on to ditch folk music completely because it was a waste of bloody time and became comedians. So there you go. That's where it can take you. Just write. And it doesn't matter, actually, what you write about. If you want to write, just get it out. I mean, it's great therapy as well. You know, I mean, you can write what the hell you want. After all, every split up I've ever gone through, the vitriol that I've written on the page has been brilliant. No one's going to ever read it, but it's a great way of getting it out. I think it's called therapy. Anyway, this is called depression. Like a barbecue in the pouring rain, you've got to keep that flame alive. Like a leaf caught in a howling gale, you're forced to duck and dive. Just keep your home fire burning from deep inside your gut. Never let the light go out or get stuck inside a rut. Never let that flying shit collide with your personal fan. There's enough of it going around to drown your fellow man. Never let that dog run free. Don't let it bring you down. Don't let its snapping jaws catch you. Keep both feet on the ground. Life is for the living. There isn't any sequel, because when it comes right down to it, all men are cremated equal. Thank you. This is dedicated to the seafront at Scarborough, because there's a bloke in a cage down there, and he's called Zoltar. And in the days when I used to smoke a lot of grass, before the second heart attack that was, we had to give up everything after the second heart attack. But you'd walk past, and I don't know, there must have been somebody with a button, because just when you were at your most vulnerable, you go, oh, I am telling your fortune, I am Zoltar. And it scared the living shite out of me. And so this is a poem for Zoltar. And there's two of them, actually, in two different arcades. And that is even more worrying than just one of them, because one might be right and one might be wrong. But also at the same time, it's like, you know, if you're told that you're really ill, you get a second opinion. So if he gives you a lousy bloody forecast, you can go to the other one and get a better one. Anyway, this is with Zoltar. Zoltar tells the future. He lives inside a box. You only see him from waist up. That's why he wears no socks. Zoltar tells the future for only 50p. But can you trust the forecast from someone with no knees? Zoltar tells you future, whether good or whether bad. His wooden voice intones your fate, that's why you look so sad. Zoltar tells you future, and Zoltar never smiles. He sits outside inside his box, that's why he suffers piles. Zoltar's eyes are mechanical. Zoltar knows your fate. Zoltar knows if you've got time, but he knows that it's too late. Zoltar knows your future from deep inside his box, and all the time is planning on how to steal your socks. And sometime in the night time, when the amusements all shut down, Zoltar puts his legs back on and stalks around the town. So beware the darkened alleys, beware deserted docks, in case Zoltar tries to grab you, knocks you down and steals your socks. Thank you. Coming up to the penultimate ones now, and this is one that I've been known to do for a long time. This goes on. This is not a love poem. You've got a mouth like the River Humber. Your skin is like green cheese. Your nose is like a Boeing 747 that's crashed between your knees. You're like a nosebleed at a party that dripped in the kids' ice cream. You're like stomach that festered overnight and woke up looking horribly obscene. You're like vomit in a puddle on a newly polished floor, like the leper that threw his hand in. I don't want to know you no more. You're an evil-minded harridan. You're a blot on the rest of mankind. You're a boil on the devil's bottom. You what makes Venetians blind. You spread disease like butter. Your breath transmits foul air. Your brain's like a nest of maggots. You make me want to swear. You're like a cannibal on a health food trip. It's only vegetarians. I hope to God you don't survive to be an octogenarian. What kind of creature bore you? Was it some sort of bat? Because your name's Katie Hopkins and you're a vicious racist twat. Thank you. I always like the subtle approach. This is another in a similar vein, believed to be the aorta. Like a pubic hair on a toilet seat, you really piss me off. Like a doctor in a hernia ward, you make me want to cough. Like a chameleon on a tartan rug, you never show true colours. Like a wristwatch on a businessman, you've got no time for others. Like a violinist in a folk group, you're always on the fiddle. Like a double-ended yo-yo, you play both ends against the middle. Like the eyes of the executioner peering from his mask. Like a piece of spat-out chewing gum, you're sticking to your task. Like a one-legged man in an arse-kicking race, you're next to fucking useless. Like Sherlock Holmes in a clueless game, you're absolutely clueless. Like two lovers on a moonless night, you're groping in the dark. Like Frankenstein's monster on the slab, you're missing a vital spark. Like the dyslexic agnostic that doesn't believe in dog. You're stuck in the wrong century because you're Jacob William Rees-Mogg. Thank you. I will say something witty and come down about the Tories, but all you've got to do is read the newspaper, so why waste the breath? This is called the devil's rock and roll. If you lose your woman and you lose your soul, it don't mean a damn, it's just the devil's rock and roll. If your winning lottery ticket gets washed in your old jeans and the bosses lay you off because they brought in a machine and everything you touch seems to turn to shite, your days are numbered and you don't sleep well at night, turn to the bottle to have a little tipple when you realise your partner has got that extra nipple and your credit card's been nicked and your pocket's just been picked and your cat's got hooves and it's worked out all your moves. There's a goat inside your wardrobe and a succubus wears your bathrobe. The horns on the head of the pizza delivery man, and you realise that Sabbath isn't just a band. And you went to the crossroads, but you still can't play guitar. And although the tune's been lifted, you'll always bear the scar. And God proclaimed to Richards, to us he would bequeath. Jesus gave us Cliff, but the devil gave us Keith. And there ain't a cobbler that can fix a hole that's in your soul. Relax, sit back, and suck it up. It's just the devil's rock and roll. Thank you. Blue flashing lights, that's quite nice, isn't it? A bit of effect there. This is called litter. You can tell we're getting to the end now. Quick word. If you're watching this, and you're not from Scarborough, take your fucking litter home with you, will you? I've got this gallery down on the pier, and we all go down to the beach. And after every bank holiday, there's some very wonderful, dedicated people that do beach cleaning. And the amount of crap that they pick up off that beach is unbelievable. And now we've got COVID masks to pick up as well now. Nappies, you name it. Please, have some respect. This says it all. Fantastic plastic used to BB's knees. Now the plastic's turned drastic. It's clogging up the seas, killing all the sea life, being eaten by the fish, entering our food chain with every seafood dish. There's plastic in the halibut, in our fish and chips, adorning all our coffee cups. Don't use those plastic lids. Don't use that plastic stirring spoon. Refuse that plastic straw and ask for plastic knives and forks. Don't use them anymore. Don't leave your plastic on the beach. Don't drop it on the ground. Take your litter home with you. Stop chucking it around. Have some respect for where you are before our anger hardens, or else we'll all come through to Leeds and shit in your front garden. Thank you. That got me the Leeds vote. Hang on for a minute. You okay? Yeah. I'm not sure if this is a poem or not, but it's from the book, and I've got to read something from the book. This is Collected Poems, Volume 2, and it's got a brilliant quote on it at the back. It says, Graham Rhodes, performance poet and activist. Allow him to nail life up by the balls and take a swing at him. Jim Taylor, Indigo Ally. I'm proud of that. I really am. Thank you, Jim. May all your pizzas be wonderful. This is the shipping forecast. Because I don't know about anybody else, but I sort of stay up late at night. It's a right bugger. And when you're writing, you sort of have Radio 4 and the World Service as a company. And I've heard the shipping forecast so many times that I thought, come on, let's give it a go. So, and now the shipping forecast issued by the Met Office on behalf of the Maritime and Coast Guard Agency at 12 a.m. today. Fair Isle, Cromarty. Pullovers turn into cardigans, jumpers for goalposts, on your head, goal. North Ooster, South Ooster, West Ooster and East Finchley. Loonies on the bus. Not so good. Probably very bad. Fourth, Viking, 40s. Wet, wet, wet. Love is all around. Definitely not so good. Turning off. Fisher, Dogger and Tyne. Visibility dropping. The fog on the Tyne is all mine, all mine. The fog on the Tyne is all mine. Fisher and the German Bight is a lot worse than its bark. Bad joke, strong winds, much flatulence. Humber, Thames and Dover, visibility black. Wibbly wobblies abroad, better not to go out, ever. White, Portland, Plymouth, weasels running amok, slight participation, always wear bicycle clips while mowing the lawn. Fitzroy, Biscay, Trafalgar, light rain, half Nelson is better than no Nelson. Lundy, Seoul and Farage, dicks always hang to the right. Low humidity, fucking mad. Seoul, Fastnet, Lundy, Ian Duncan Smith. Receding horizon, even madder. Shannon, Rockall, Malin. Low mist, Hurricane Higgins, Typhoon Tyson. Baby, please don't go. The Irish Sea, Hebrides, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. Marrakesh Express. Hippie shit. Be sure to wear flowers in your hair. Southeast Iceland, Frosty the Snowman, thundery showers, moderate, never good, occasionally bloody awful. General synopsis, rain, then squally showers and more rain. Poor, becoming grim. Life sucks, get a fucking helmet. Thank you. Right. Another one, this is just 2 plugs for the book. This is another book. Funny enough, it's got exactly the same quote on the back as this one as well. I hadn't realised that. But this is called Poetry. It's 52 years of me performing poetry. It's got a subtitle of called How John Otway Ate My Curry. And he did. So there. Never, ever trust anybody that hasn't written it in your rider and says, oh, just go out and do a sound check. You come back and your curry's gone. Don't hold it against him, bastard. This is called Happiness. Happiness comes with a whispered bar or a knickerbocker glory in the harbour bar, an unexpected orgasm or a tax rebate, paying off your debts, wiping clean the slate. Happiness comes with a new CD, discovering you haven't got an STD, finding a tenner in an old jacket pocket, lighting up a joint that takes off like a rocket. Happiness comes with a living wage, food in your stomach and a pension at old age, a society that cares for its ill and sick, and not being sold to money-grabbing pricks that starve it to cash to make sure it fails. Say it loud, say it proud. National health is not for sale. Thank you. These are the last 2, and yes, you've probably been waiting for these. This is the Facebook poem. I've just been unfriended on Facebook. Does it look like that I give a shit? Thank God you'll no longer share with me your thoughts and your wisdom and wit. No longer will I have to put up with your opinions and photos of life, your comical cats and photos of twats that you met when you're out with your wife. I've just been unfriended on Facebook. Hip, 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 bloody hooray. No more dubious comments about Brexit and your fetish about Theresa May. No more misguided missives from fascists, jokes that are sexist and fail. Your comments on everyday living taken from Telegraph, Sun and the Mail. I've just been unfriended on Facebook. Now I'm liberated, cleansed and feel free from all of your dubious comments. Why the fuck did you send them to me? Now you can carry on living your day-to-day life in your way, and I'll get on doing whatever I do, not caring what Facebook might say. I've just been unfriended on Facebook. I assume that you now wish me ill luck. But I'm sorry to say I've had a great day. Frankly, don't give a fuck. Thank you. I will leave you with a love poem. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sticking around for so long. Thank you, David, for the Sounds of Scarborough. There you go. You can buy the album in Skipper Images Gallery on the pier. In fact, you can buy it in most places in Scarborough, funnily enough. 12 quid, I believe it is. Well, that's what I'm charging anyway. I don't know what anybody else is. But yes, support it because it's supporting local musicians throughout the Yorkshire coast. He got an Arts Council grant for it, didn't he? Well done, David. But there's loads and loads, and it'll be on the internet probably forever. So dig everybody else, because some bloody good acts on there. Scarborough always has sort of fought or shot above its size for the quality of the music, and it's been my pleasure for 20 years now, to support local bands in this town. And funnily enough, to perform for poetry in this venue for 20 years now. So support it, support Scarborough, support the musicians, past and present. This is my love poem. This is dedicated to a woman I once loved and lost. Excitable Sadie, the inflatable lady, arrived to the post yesterday. So I undid the wrapping and took out the packing and took her upstairs to play. I pumped and I pumped, on her I jumped, ran me hand through her hair. Got my watch caught, pulled her hair taut. Out came a fountain of air. Well, she let out a fizz and started to whiz and shot round and round in the room. She startled the cat when she shot past the mat and straight out the window she zoomed. So it's goodbye, Sadie, the inflatable lady, the woman I've wanted so long. Because all I've got left is a bit of left breast with a label that says made in Hong Kong. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you. Good night.